Hi, this is the second video of my hashtag allthingsspace, which is a collaboration created by Mana from Dolls Rescued. Now, this is my Smartdoll side, so this is really just a Smartdoll pattern and a tutorial, and Mirai's already trying to hold the bag up, but I don't think you can actually see it from there, can you? This is our little bag that we're going to be making. It completes our Mirai's here little sort of Mandalorian Grogu outfit. So we're going to be doing this tutorial top down in a second. It is such a simple little bag to do, but as I mentioned, it is sort of part of the collaboration, but it's not a collaboration video, it's a Smartdoll video, so it's a bit of both, this one. So I know I will get some viewers that are just Smartdoll viewers on here, so I'm going to put Smartdoll, then hashtag allthingsspace. If you've not seen the other videos, if you're a Smartdoll owner and not seen what the others do, please pop over onto their videos. They're great to watch. It is really nice to sort of, it's such a wonderful and warm sort of doll community. Everybody supports everybody. And I know a lot of doll collectors do collect different dolls as well, so you'll see all sorts of dolls on there. So don't think it's just about Smartdoll. There'll be Barbies, there'll be Bly's, there'll be Cindy's, there'll be dolls you've never seen. It's always nice to see one that you don't know about. The only thing is then you want to buy it. That's usually my problem. But for today, this is going to be just a tutorial. I've done a separate video just for the collaboration because it is sort of space themed, and as you can see, I've got a couple of other things. One of my other Smartdoll girls there is dressed in her Doctor Who inspired outfit as well. So we're going to be doing this, aren't we, Mirai? Little bag, top down, quick and easy, UK terms, don't forget, and let's get on with it. I will see you in a second. Hi, here is the actual video for our little Mandalorian bag. Now, I got his name wrong in the last thing, which is really bad. I think I actually said Goku, which is Dragon Ball Z, but no, it's Grogu. It does almost sound the same though. That's my excuse, and I'm sticking to it. I'm just going to call him Baby Yoda from now because it's easier than getting the name wrong. So basically, this is the little bag that we're making. It is in two halves. There is two parts to it. You could just make it as a flat bag if you didn't want the two halves. It is really simple to make. I've already made one half, so you don't have to watch me make both, but you do need to see me put it together. So that is why I needed that. I have two tiny weeny buttons there. You could use beads if you want, or little bits of felt. I just have the little tiny buttons, so that was handy. I have some sewing cotton just for sewing on the eyes, so that can be moved out of the way. I have my needles and my scissors, and let's look what we actually need to make the bag. I have a double knit yarn here. Now I'm going to say this is a double knit yarn. I'm not sure. It works well with double knit, but I got this yarn. It was the perfect colour to do it. And I know when I made the Yoda hat, I have got the pattern for that as well on one of the tutorials. When I actually, oh, what's that on there? Bit of fluff. When I did actually make that, again, the colour was perfect, but I was given the wool and it had no label, so I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to say this is all in double knit. We are using a 3mm crochet hook. Now these are UK terms, so again, your yarns you might need to play around with, because I know sort of in the US you've got worsted weight, you've got sports weight. Sort of, I know worsted is a little bit thicker than ours, so you might be going towards the sports weight, so you might need to play around. If you've used a double knit with yarn with me or equivalent, it will be the same, because my tension's always the same with that. And as you see, the hat and the top, now you may have already done the top. I don't know whether there's one with like the splits in it down. It's the same top, it's just that I haven't done the splits, so I just wanted to do a quick little top that could go with the outfit that I'd made. So we're going to get on with the bag. So I'm going to pop the bag just over there on Mirai, and we're going to get going with this colour first. Now these colours are approximate, you know, to what the character is. And I mean, if you look on a skirt, you know, you do have different greens, darker greens. There's lots of different colours in there, so you can sort of play around with this as you want. It is done in an amigurumi style, and as I said, UK terms. If you do have a problem sort of with the terminology with that, I would recommend you do sort of pop on Google. There is loads and loads of conversion charts, or if you've got a book or a crochet magazine, they usually have the conversions in there. So we're going to start with 2 chain, because as I say, it is an amigurumi style. This is my preferred way of doing amigurumi, not with a magic loop. If you prefer the magic loop, by all means, just go with that. I'm going to work into that first chain, and I'm going to do 6 double crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Right, we're now going to do 2 double crochets into each of the 6 that we've got there. I'm just trying to decide whether to lower the camera a little bit or bring it a little bit closer. Shall I bring it closer? Let's see. This might look a bit weird to start with, so bear with me. Ta-da! That's a little bit closer. You'll now be able to see the super glue that's stuck on my fingers, because I mentioned in my previous video, if you watch the collaboration one, that we're making a lot of cosplay stuff at the moment. So we've been sticking armour together, and I've got glue all over the place, as always. Right, so we've got our 6 double crochets. We're now going to do 2 double crochets into each of those 6 to give us our 12. So off we go. We have 2 in our first one, 2 in the second one, 2 in number 3, in number 4, in number 5, and in number 6. So now we have 12 stitches. We're going to increase again, and it's going to be another one where it's 2 in each. I'm just going to tighten that middle bit up. It is important that this center point is really tight. So 2 in each of the 12 this time. So that's 2 in the first one, in number 2, in number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, 7, 8, we're almost there, 9, 10, got 2 more to do, 11 and 12. We now should have 24 stitches because we did 2 in each of the 12, didn't we? So we've got 24. There's still more increasing to come yet, but for now it's going to be moving on to its where it's like 2 in one, then 1 in the next 2. Does that make sense? I'll point that out again. I'll take this out. So you're going to do 2 in the first stitch and then 1 in each of the following 2, and you're going to do that 8 times. This will give you 32 stitches. I'm not going to pop a stitch marker in. I am going to count it because it's only quite small, so we don't need to worry too much. If actually we pop the little back there, then you can see what we're doing. Whoop, there we go. So we have 2 in our first one, and then we have 1 in each of the next 2. And I'm going to mark that down. If I'm not sort of just sat nice and quiet, I wouldn't need to do that, but I'm going to mark it down because I'm chattering as well. This is our second set. So 2 in the first one, 1 in the next 2, 1 and 2. That's our second set of the 8. 2 in the next one, 1 in each of the next 2, 1 and 1. So that's set 3. 2 in the next one, 1 in the next 2, 1 and 1. Set 4. So set 5 we're starting. So 2, 1, 1. So that's set 5 completed. We've only got 3 more sets. We have a 2 in 1 and a 1 and a 1. So that's our set 6. Now I'm not going to mark it down now because I know I've only got a couple more to do anyway. So we have 2 in the next one, 1 in the next 2. That was 7. And our very last one, we have a 2, a 1 and a 1. There we go. So we are now round. We're going to do a double crochet round, so each stitch is just going to have 1 double crochet in it. Now, as I mentioned, we do have 32 stitches, and I think I might actually pop a stitch marker in. I'm just getting my little stitch marker tin. I've got so many stitch markers in here, I never know what I've got and what I haven't. I'll use this one. This is one of my daughters, so one of her own designs. I've got little deer, this one is. So we're going to do a double crochet round, so it's just 1 double crochet in each, but I know because I'm talking I'm going to lose track of where I am, so that's why I decided to pop the stitch marker in. There's always something to distract me in this house, so I do use my stitch markers, or when I've forgotten to use one, I just use a piece of yarn to push through. It also makes you work a little bit quicker because you're not thinking about counting it. So as I say, this is just 1 double crochet into each. This is quite a quick little make to do. I mean, you don't have to put the Baby Yoda face on it. You could just make it as a bag. You could change its colours, make lots of sort of variations on it, a nice variegated yarn, and it's just a little round bag, really. So we're almost round to our stitch marker. We have another row of increase. I said row, didn't I? Did I say row before? Round. That's because when I've been making the top, I've actually been doing rows. I don't do rows that often. It's nearly always in the round, but I have been doing rows. So you get into doing something and you can't sort of get out of thinking about it. But we are on rounds. We're definitely on rounds. So a couple more stitches and we're back to our little stitch marker, our little cutie deer there. Right, so that is 1 double crochet in each. We have our last increase round and the last round in this colour as well. Now again, you don't have to change the colour. This was just my personal choice. Now this one, we're going to do 2 in the first one and then 1, 1 and 1. Yeah, so it's a 2, a 1, 1 and a 1. And you're going to do that 8 times like we did before. So it's another increase. So we have 2 in our first one. Then we have a 1, a 1 and a 1. I'm not actually going to count. I'm just going to trust my stitch marker here because it's only 1 round. So we have a 2 in the next one. And then a 1, a 1 and a 1. 2 in the next one. And then we have a 1. Oh, nearly. A 1 and a 1. I will pop the pattern up for this one up on my YouTube as well. I don't know whether anyone would be interested in the plain top because it is very, very similar to the other one. So I don't know whether it's something people will be bothered about. If it is though, please let me know and I can always recreate that pattern. It is slightly different from the other one. But so we got a 1, a 1 and a 1. 2 in the next one. And then a 1, a 1 and a 1. Oh, or not. There we go. So we're just over halfway now. So 2 in the next one. A 1, a 1 and a 1. A 2, a 1, 1 and 1. Last set coming up and the last bit in this colour as well. So we have a 2 and we have a 1, 1 and 1, and I'm actually going to slip stitch the next stitch. There we go, that's a slip stitch. So let's get this cream colour out of the way because I don't need that at all. In fact, I'm not going to be using it for any other part. And I'm going to bring in this little ball. Now, as I was saying, this is a yarn that somebody gave me, so I'm not 100% sure what it is. Because it's a bag, you sort of get away with tension anyway. But I've had to roll it into lots of little balls because it got a little bit tangled, but the colour was, like I said, just so perfect, I couldn't resist. So I've got my new yarn ready here on my hand. I'm going to take my stitch marker out because you'll be able to see where you start because of the colour change. Now, I did a slip stitch there, okay? So I'm going to pull that through my slip stitch. You join however you prefer. I'm going to do a chain and I'm going to double crochet into the next one. Okay, and we're going to just 1 double crochet all the way around. Now, because this is my second one, because you need 2 of these, oh, nearly threw my button away then, I move them to one side. This one I fastened off completely. You can see I've sewn all the ends in, or there is nothing there. This one I'm not going to fasten off, okay? So when we get to the end, we will be then joining the 2 together. This little ball's going to run all over the place. I do have yarn bowls, but my yarn bowls are all full of projects, so I never actually use my yarn bowls for what they're meant for. But we've only got a couple of bits to do on this now, so we don't need to worry too much. Hopefully it's not going to run off too far. So we're just doing that 1 double crochet into each of the below stitches. A few more to do. Oh, we've got about another 4 stitches there. Is it 4 or 5? Perhaps what we've got. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've actually got 5. There's 1 there, isn't there? Right, so we are round. Now I am not going to fasten off because I need to join these 2 together. So basically I need wrong sides facing. Shall we get rid of this? It will make it easier, won't it, if I get rid of that? You can, I mean, when I made this one, I did all the bits and then I sewed all the ends in afterwards. But sometimes for demonstration, it can get in the way. And it can be a little bit confusing. Then there's bits of yarn everywhere. So I'm just going to quickly thread that through a couple of times. And we'll get rid of that bit. And then that's 1 less to have to think about. Now, entirely up to you with these 2 that are here. If you want to crochet them in as you go, you can do, which is what I'm going to do. Or you can just sew them in. Well, you can't sew this one in, this one, because we're using this one. But those two spare ones, up to you how you do it. I'm going to crochet them in as we go. So, as I mentioned, we need to pop wrong sides together, about there. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to push through this one first and then choose a matching one on the other side. That will do. And again, make sure, because obviously you know you've got these 2 bits of the chain, you need to go through both of them, otherwise it will make it loose. In fact, I'll tell you what, Mirai, see if I can get her to hold the wool. I'm just going to pop it there and hopefully it might roll in from her arm there. Right, let me get all the bits together. I'm going to get those ready, and you don't need to worry about those. I'm just going to crochet them in, that's all, if I can. Right, so we have our first stitch crocheted together. Now, actually, I don't know whether these will crochet together. I can try. In fact, no, I'm not going to complicate matters. Sew those in at the end. Just ignore them. Just push them out of the way for now. And we're just going to make sure we pick up both sides so they're matching in line. And we do a double crochet. Both sides and a double crochet. And you're going to do that all, well, not all the way around. You need to leave an opening for the bag, don't you? Sometimes you need to sort of line it up, double check. There we go. Because if you don't get them properly lined up, you'll get the bag puckering. Some of these stitches are being a bit of a pain. There we go. As soon as you get going, it's not so bad. It's just getting it going. Again, there I only picked up 1 bit, so I took it out and picked up 2 afterwards. Just makes it a much solider sort of closure if you pick up both bits, otherwise it leaves it a little bit loose. So So you can see this is where I started. I'm probably going to finish about there, because then that leaves an opening, that sort of size opening. I think that's enough. But again, that's something you can decide on, sort of how you want it to be. It doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. I like crocheting things together. I think it can actually look quite neat compared with sewing. Obviously, sometimes sewing is required. Depends what you're actually making, but I do like the finish of a crocheted together item, whether it be doll or full size. Let's double check, make sure I'm not sealing it in. Got a bit of a catch there. Right, I'm going to take it out. If it does that, it's easy to take it out and do it again. It's only one stitch. It's not worth making it sort of lumpy or anything like that. So what did that take? A second to undo. I think a couple more and I'm going to say I've done enough. Let's have a double check. Yeah, I think that's an okay opening for the bag. So I'm going to say I'm round. Now, because I didn't sew them in or anything at the moment, I'm just going to shove them in there. I'd recommend you sew them in before you start. I think that'd probably be the best option. But for now, we're just going to get them out of the way so they're not hindering you. Now, the actual strap. This is going to come down to whether you want a crocheted strap, or you're wanting to stitch ribbon on, or you're wanting to stitch chain. Chain would look quite nice with a nice sort of jump ring either side. But for this, I actually did chain. I think it was 120. I'm just double checking my numbers. Where did I put it? No, I didn't. I did 70. Why have I got 120? That was for the chain for the top, that's why. So I actually did 70 on there. It will depend on how you want it to fit across your doll, whether you want it across like that or just over the shoulder. The 70 is more of an over the shoulder amount. So I'm going to do a little bit more because I wanted it really to go across the body rather than just sort of over the arm. This is going to be jumping about again, isn't it? Stay there. So here we go. Keep your chain tight. This is going to be a bit boring, so you might want to just fast forward to when I do the little face. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep moving your fingers up. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13. It's all getting tangled now. 13. 14, 15, 16. Keep it nice and even. Nearly dropped it then, didn't I? 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. If you're not sure how many you're doing, sometimes it's good to put a marker every so many. I'm going to actually pause this very quickly and I'm going to get to the end of my, I think I will do 90 chain, but again, this is optional to you. Ta-da! I have got 90 chains. It's quite a long chain, isn't it? So after I've done my 90, I'm going to jump to the other side of the bag because that one's coming out obviously that side. I'm going to go to where it's actually joined, not where there's a gap. So I'll move it down a little bit further, about there. And all I'm going to do is a double crochet and then a slip stitch into the next one. And that's it. Okay, so that is the main bag done. You could leave it at that if you're just wanting a nice little round bag. It's nice and simple to make, but we're wanting some detail, aren't we? We need a little face. Now this is so easy. Again, it's just like the middle part of that. You could have just started it green, but I decided I wanted it slightly raised. Can you see? So that is why I did it this way. So let's get that little face done. So again, slip knot onto the hook, 2 chain, 6 double crochets into that first chain. 1, 2, 3, let's move that out of the way, 4, 5, and 6. Now after that we're going to be doing an increase, and I'm just checking what page I am on. We're going to do 2 double crochets in each, of course we are. So 2 in each of the 6 to give us 12. That's 2 in our first one, 2 in, not in number 2 because I dropped it, 2 in number 2, in number 3, 4, 5 and 6. So now you've got 12 stitches there. We do need, obviously that's a very tiny face like that, we need another increase round, so we're going to do again 2 in each of the double crochets, and this is definitely rolling around, stay still. So 2 in each of the 12, so it's going to give us 24 stitches, isn't it? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, nearly there, 10, 2 more, 11 and 12. So we have 24 stitches, and I'm going to finish with a slip stitch. Now because we're sewing this onto this, make sure you've got enough yarn here that you know you're going to be able to sew onto the back. You can add the yarn, but it's a bit of a pain if you do that. So we're going to fasten that one off. So that's our little face, which I will show you for sewing on because there was a different way I did it. Now I'm only going to make 1 ear. You know, obviously you're going to need 2 ears because obviously your little, you know, I completely went blank then with the name. I keep saying I'm going to get his name wrong. It is Grogu, and it is not Goku, it is Grogu. And I did say I was just going to call him Baby Yoda, wasn't I? Which I think I'll better stick to be honest. Right, so we're going to start again amigurumi. So we have 2 chain, 6 into the first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. There is only 1 increase in this because I want 9 stitches, not 6. So I'm going to do 2 in the first one, 1 in the second one, and we do that 3 times. Okay, so here we go. First one. First one's always hard. It sort of like folds over. It always annoys me, that one. So we got 2 in the first one, 1 in the second one. That is 1 set. Second set, a 2, a 1. That's our second set finished. Third set, a 2 and a 1. That is it. That is increased to 9. So pull it nice and tight, and we're going to do just 3 rounds of 1 double crochet into each of those stitches. So off we go. 9 stitches we're going to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. That is our first round. I will mark it down because otherwise I will forget, even though it's only 3 rounds. Right, now because you can see it's curling this way, I'm just going to pop it over my finger and just push it the other way, so then it's easier to work with. So we need another 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. So that's our second set. I need 1 more. It doesn't look very long, but it will be right. So 9 stitches again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and my last stitch is going to be a slip stitch, And again, we need to sew it on, so make sure you've got enough yarn. I mean, there'll be more than enough there, because it's only a little bit, isn't it? And I'm going to pull it through. Now, I say it looks a bit sort of stumpy at first. Don't worry about that. We're going to get rid of that one, so make sure it's really tight. If you're worried about this coming undone, you can stitch it into place, but I do find mine, I've never had it yet happen, but if you're not sure, just give it a little stretch. Now, we've got to put on the face first, so let's grab our face. I'm going to get rid of this one, but I'm going to sew it in. I'm not just going to cut it off, because I don't want his face suddenly getting a hole in it, do I? That wouldn't be really good. There we go. And through again. And we'll trim that off. Now, as far as the eyes are concerned, I'd recommend you do sew them on first, because you can sew them on after. There's no real reasoning behind it. It just is easier, that's all. So I'm going to get my sewing needle this time, my sewing cotton, and threading. It's actually not a sewing needle, this one, it's an embroidery needle, but because it's going through yarn, it's easy enough. Nice little knot at the end. Decide, I usually pop that at the bottom, and decide where his eye is going to go. So I'm going to go in there. Let's grab the buttons over here. You don't have to use buttons. As I say, you could use beads, you could use bits of felt. I just had these and I thought they just looked quite cute. They were the right size that I wanted as well. I want to try and keep it so that the buttonholes are side to side. It's actually quite tricky to sew on video because I sew very close to my body. I know I've mentioned it before, when I'm sewing up, I bring things close to me, and it's sort of like having to do it at an arm's length feels a little bit weird. Might be just the way I film it. Right, we need our second one, so I'm just going to stick it up there. Oh, lots of bits everywhere. And my second button. Make sure it's where I want it to be. Try and hold it in place. I know it's only tiny, and we will do a couple of stitches in that. Make sure it's nice and secure. Remember, my crochet really is more for sort of collectible dolls. I know my granddaughter has some of my things, but if it is going to, if you're making it for maybe a younger person, not necessarily for a smart doll, I mean, this would go for sort of our generation type dolls, the larger dolls. So if you are making it for somebody a little bit younger, let's make a knot here. Don't worry about this, you're not going to see it because it's going to be stitched onto the bag. Maybe think about whether, you know, the safety issue. I mean, most dolls are for 3 years up anyway, so it shouldn't be a problem. But you should always be aware of who your recipients are. Right, so we have our little face, and we're going to pop it on there. It's quite easy to place it because your circle is the same as this one. So I'm wanting it about there. Oh, I've just thrown my scissors on the floor. I do have another pair here, so I'm not going to bend down and get them. I'll just get my other scissors. I've got scissors all over the place. So I've just threaded my needle up. Ideally get that out of the way, but again, for demonstration, I'm not going to do that. So we hold it in place, nice and central. Now, you know that earlier I referred to the 2 parts. Let's see, make sure we can see this properly. There's 2 parts, yeah? Now, for sewing him on, because I want it to stick out a little bit, I'm only going to pick up the front bit. And it sort of makes it become a little bit more rounded when you're working. So I'm going to just choose a point where I'm going to start. And then I just pick up the top part of the stitch, then picking up a bottom part underneath. I'm going to pick up a top bit and an underneath bit. The underneath bit is the bag, not the underneath stitch. It's just the top part of the stitch and the bag. Again, because I'm sewing up, I can feel myself trying to drag it towards me. So, top bit and stitch. Oh, not the camera, apologies for that. But can you see it sort of makes it stick out a little bit further? I'm just going to go about halfway because you don't need to see me sew all this on. And then I'll show you how I pop the ear on. I need to get past halfway because the ear is going to go there. Nearly at the top. Keep keep checking that you are holding it in the position. So just have a check. Yes, it's still central. I'm still happy with that. So picking that up and underneath the bag. Right, I'm going to actually leave that at that just for demonstration purposes. You're going to carry on obviously all the way around and just fasten it on like you would normally do. Because I just wanted to mention the ear, something I did with the ear. I mentioned it when I think I did a rabbit. I always use my yarn to the side, yeah, because I need a little fold. I need the ear to have a sort of a bit of a fold to it. So basically I've got that there. I'm just going to push it through that side, yeah, and it just pulls it too. Oh, that's all I've done. But now obviously we need to make sure that's not going to come undone. So I just do a little knot. And that's it. It just gives a little bit of shape to the ear. Now, obviously, which side is which, it doesn't matter. We need them equal. We need to make sure I've lined them up with the eyes. So I'm just holding it in place. And I'm just going to pick up a couple of stitches. To be honest, it only takes about 3 stitches, maybe 4 at the most. Make sure it's nice and secure. So I've done 3 stitches there. I will have a look at it, make sure I'm happy before I fasten it off. So if you fasten it off and then you've got to undo it, that's going to be a nightmare. Always check, are you happy? Yeah, that will do. So I think I'm content with that. So now I'm going to do a little knot and thread the remainder thread through the ear and cut it off. So that is basically it. You can sort of just fold the ear back over like that. Obviously we need to continue with this one, which is one I will finish, but this is our finished product. It does, I know it doesn't look like it's going to do it, but it does really tuck it under when you're just picking up that top part of the stitch. So that's our Baby Yoda bag, and I'm going to give it back to our Marai, and we'll take the camera further back so we can see it. There we are. So you can have your bag back now, missus. As I say, I definitely think I'll go for the longer length because I usually like bags to go across the body because it's the way I wear a bag as well. But that's up to you, completely up to you. So I hope you enjoyed this video. And remember, if you're sort of not just watching it for the Smartdoll one, pop over to the hashtag... let me get it right, allthingsspace. I've written it down and said it 10 times and I'm still forgetting it. It must be one of those days. So hashtag allthingsspace, and have a look what the other people are doing, because there will be makes, there will be collaborations, it is a collaboration. I think I ought to stop talking now, but there'll be makes, there'll be show and tells, there'll be different dolls you may not have seen. It'd be nice chat and stories, and it's just a lovely way of getting into the doll community, and everyone's so nice within that. So please pop on the others as well. Like I say, even though this isn't technically the one that's for the collaboration, it's part of the collaboration, so I will pop links in as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please pop me a comment in there. Please like, subscribe and share, etc, etc. The pattern for this is on my YouTube as well, and just let me know if you want. I am planning on doing a different sort of sun top yet, so that's going to be coming up very soon for our Smartdoll. But thank you for watching. Hope to see you all very soon, and bye bye for now.